second panelist. She's from Cameroon, so we have an experience from outside. Mrs. Digambong Bibiana. She's a founder of the building.Land Humanitarian Foundation of Peace and Hope. She has worked a lot in promoting women, especially her NGO promotes, the foundation in the US and in the Cameroon promotes vulnerable women, girls, youth and children in poor rural communities. She has written also a book, that's why she has a strong link with Rwanda, a book titled Rwanda, Horrors of Genocide, Prevention is Possible in Our World Today. She's going to give us an address. The title is A Holistic Approach to Post-Genocide Challenges and the Importance of Visionary Leadership by Women. Welcome, Mrs. Bibiana.
Your Excellencies, distinguished Your Excellencies, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, good afternoon. I stand here to celebrate the heroic works of Rwandan women, and that's why my paper is titled The Holistic Approach of Post-Genocide Challenges and the Importance of Visionary Leadership by Women in Reconciliation, Reconstruction and Rebuilding of Rwanda. While Rwanda is rebuilding itself, my hometown Cameroon is at the verge of a civil war. A tragic Holocaust. I stand here today feeling as one of the victims during the 1994 Rwandan genocide, because back in my homeland, I can't be killed because of who I am, what I represent, or what I say. I strongly believe that our commemoration here today, as we share our common humanity and search the questions that challenge our world, I believe that there is hope for Cameroon and there is hope for Rwanda and our world today. Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, a Cameroonian talking to Rwandans today, what is my motivation to be here today? It is simply because I'm passionate about the sufferings of Rwanda people, abused women, marginalized girls, and victims of conflict, especially amongst groups, cohabitation, and ethnic differences, knowing the huge cost of this conflict to humanity. As a research student in international relations and humanitarian action, I am deeply concerned by the fact that around the world, people are being killed, injured, and forced from their homes by terrifying conflict and oppression. Going hungry because their harvests are failing year after year. From Cameroon, where I come from, to Rwanda, Syria, South Sudan, many more people, about 125 million people around the world have had their lives devastated by conflict or disaster. Countless families are being pushed deeper into poverty every day. And that is part of my work. That is part of my work in my community as a mobilizer for women in peace building. The objective of our study here today is to examine the post-genocide challenges, visionary leadership of women towards reconciliation, reconstruction and rebuilding of Rwanda in the last 25 years. Like I said before, I'm here to celebrate the heroic works of Rwandan women. And I believe we Cameroonian women, we have a lot to learn from Rwandan women. Thank you very much to the organizers of this conference for giving me this unique opportunity to learn and to share the knowledge I have about Rwanda in order to shape our world. We also try to find out the contribution women have made to the peace building and reconciliation process in Rwanda 25 years after genocide in terms of best practices and success stories. And we also try to highlight the constraints that women in Rwanda have encountered in this process after the genocide. We also try to chart out a holistic strategies of intervention to enhance women's role in peace building and reconciliation efforts. And we will try to highlight specific advocacy needs in relation to peace building and reconciliation. The paper will conclude with a recommendation that for national reconciliation and reconstruction to succeed, third parties in Rwanda must include a strong gender component, recognizing women's needs into all their programming, paying special attention to the new roles of women in Rwandan society and economy. Why focus on women? After the Rwandan genocide, the demographic structure of Rwanda's population stipulates that women's population stood at 70%, while their contribution at 54%, and 35% of the household were women headed. The war and genocide had disproportionately strong impacts on women as rape and genocide survivors, widows and heads of households, and caretakers of orphans. That is the position of women as victims and participants in the genocide and their unique post-conflict needs. Their long experiences in their role as peacemakers, women in the family as mothers, wives, and sisters, where they prefer problem solving through open communication, honest discussions of differences and dialogue among all concerned parties. Women in their traditional roles are used to resolving disputes through the best means of ensuring that at least some of the concerns of all conflicting parties are made a win-to-win situation. A family model which seeks fairness and reconciliation rather than victory and retribution. As bearers of life, women can offer a special perspective and experience which will help to overcome prevailing life-destroying methods of dealing with human problems and conflicts. Since military conflicts and diplomacy, which have traditionally been exclusively orchestrated by men, have failed to be a reliable system to safeguard peace, the inclusion of women in all stages of peace processes becomes very, very imperative. And here we have the traditional role of women as nurturers to their babies. And the methodology to this study was a consultation of documents on peace and reconciliation, different textbooks, research reports, journals, and intensive interviews to some of the women who hate NGOs, CSO, and women in leadership in Rwanda. Now, what is the contribution of women towards peace building, or what has been the contribution of women towards peace building and reconciliation in the past 25 years in Rwanda? Women were determined to fight anything that would threaten to take them back into bloodshed. We are tired of losing children, husbands, and relatives, says one of the women interviewed. A woman is the epitome of peace. It is from her that peace flows and radiates to other members of the family. provides a strong basis for sustainable peace and reconciliation, where women are the custodians and transmitters of these values to the young generation through a process of socialization. Now we have the specific findings on thematic areas of the study. We have women spearheading socioeconomic initiatives. Women became a driving force of the socioeconomic development of the country after the 1994 genocide. A vast network of women groups such as NGOs, associations, and cooperatives at the grassroots level played a pivotal role in empowerment initiatives. Socioeconomic development was used as an entry point to peace building and reconciliation. You can find the women in income-generating activities to see how they can better be peacemakers. Women were also initiators in the resettlement programs. Looking at the thousands of people returning from Congo and Tanzania, one attention is attracted by the large number of women. This was a significant step in restoring peace through returnees of refugees. Women participated massively in the national program of settlement, where women provided labor, and for the first time in the history of Rwanda, they went right on top of the roof to build houses. I celebrate the Rwandan women for that. Some proved to be capable of doing a relatively new job. This was out of shared determination and the need for survival. Throughout the entire territory of Rwanda, women were seen on building sites, working side by side with men. Sometimes women alone trying to cope with difficult challenge of constructing houses. This broke the myth that if a woman constructs a house, it leaks, said one female respondent. Income-generating activities. Income-generating activities in rural areas for the most part were dominated by women groups. In an area where Rwanda as a country was trying to rebuild itself in the aftermath of the genocide that left the entire country destroyed, women were affected equally. Thousands of income-generating activities were initiated by women groups themselves, such as the associations, cooperatives, NGOs, and CSO, or by the government with the support of some goodwill donors. The time for peace and reconciliation theory is over. People need to be involved in this effort in a practical way. That is how communities will mend against the brokenness caused by the genocide. One of the striking examples on how peace building and reconciliation efforts were clearly demonstrated in an income-generating activity is the Cow Peace Project in some of the provinces. These are all pictures of the initiatives of women involved in income-generating activities. Examples of activities such as the above have brought women from isolation and enabled them to come together and share ideas, and have brought collective benefit to the community in this area. Cows have also created a healthy community environment. Since every community member is a potential beneficiary, direct or indirect, everybody feels responsible for the security of the cow. Neighbors meet in the evening to talk and keep company in the home where the cow is kept. Culturally, this is a forum for sharing and building trust and solidarity, and by far contribute to peace and reconciliation. Women's contribution to restoration and maintenance of security, and this is where my attention was really touched. When the war of insurgency broke out, women provided information on government troops, movement and deployment, so that infiltrators would know where and when to attack. Women also provided hiding places for infiltrators. They also sang songs of boasting the fighters, moral and at times provided spiritual power, where they served as spiritual mobilizers who propensively imparted special power to increase chances of winning battles. As long as women participated in this insurgency, the war effort continued unabated. It was realized that women were the backbone of this rebellion. Therefore, the effort to end would not succeed without persuading women to stop their support to the rebels, who had either propaganda or forced in the first place to displace thousands of women and children. It was until women realized that the displacement caused untold suffering, including deaths on the battlefield, diseases, starvation to their children, they started considering the option of heeding the call of the leader to return to safety in the zones controlled by the government. Women started slowly switching their support from rebels to the government side, which gave them guarantees of protection in the event their sons and husbands were to return peacefully. When women got convinced that this position was to ensure their own security and that of their children, they helped in the early ending of the insurgency. Women started a campaign of convincing their husbands and relatives to disassociate themselves from the insurgency and return peacefully to their families. What women did here is considered by many as an act of heroism because it involved risks of their own lives. Women used different tactics to convince rebels to leave the insurgency and became free again. One of the methods used was to collaborate with the government troops and negotiate the peaceful surrender on conditions that were cooperated. As a rebel commander who was previously a school headmaster in one of the districts, was persuaded by his wife after many unsuccessful attempts to abandon the rebellion. He finally surrendered with a strong force of fighters on a single day. I say bravo to the women of Rwanda. And women stand up against gender-based violence. What were the major challenges and constraints women face in their full participation? We have poor coordination, networking, and monitoring systems of women initiatives, lack of education and limited skills amongst women, widespread poverty manifested by acute shortage of resources to sustain and promote their income-generating activities, insecurity and gender-based violence, limited participation in decision-making, limited self-confidence, gender stereotypes, negative aspects of the Rwandan culture, and the degeneration of positive cultural values in the Rwandan society. Now, what are the advocacy needs to enhance or recommendations to enhance women's role in peace building? Given the critical role of the leadership in facilitating the reconciliation process, government policies should mobilize civil, religious, and intellectual leaders to spearhead reconciliation initiatives. The government should put in place a coordination mechanism and monitor reconciliation initiatives at community level. It should make an inventory of the numerous best practices of women with reconciliation initiatives that have not been highlighted in this study, with a view of disseminating them within and outside the country. A system of supporting and motivating best performing women individuals and organizations that have contributed to peace and reconciliation processes. Now our conclusion. So far, this paper has addressed the significant role women have played in rebuilding, reconciliation, and reconstruction of Rwanda in the last 25 years. The study has explored major challenges incurred by women in the process of finding sustainable peace in post-genocide Rwanda. In spite of the considerable and laudable effort made by women towards reconciliation, there is still much to be done. There is need for women to continue their role as nurturers and caregivers. For national and reconciliation to succeed, third parties in Rwanda must include a strong gender component, recognizing women's needs into all the programming, paying special attention to the new roles of women in Rwandan society. Women need the continuous support of the government, church and community members to continue to reconcile, rebuild and reconcile Rwanda, ensuring the phrase never again becomes a reality to all ages. Thank you very much.